Greetings, everyone, and welcome. December the 8th, 2025, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, midnight Kyiv, Ukraine, already flipping over into December the 9th. Earlier today, I shared with you guys video about the meetings that Zelensky had in London with key European and British leaders. From that, there were very direct statements by Macron and Merz directly against the United States and specifically Donald Trump. At that time, I suggested that there would be a response from Donald Trump and it would be imminently incoming. We now have that reply. And it's pretty tough, guys. Basically, he is stating by sharing a Truth Social post from the New York Post that Europe's out. Truth Social bomb breaking right now. This is going to go completely pro Russia with these statements. Now, I'm sure we will get more later. But this is what has happened so far. President Trump has been in meetings all day, and I'm sure we will get direct statements from him, a tweet, a comment on video at some point, even possible later this evening. But the bottom line is this is what he shared, and I'll show it to you. But right before that, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, and being a part of this growing community that we're trying to share truth and share hope and grow together for the betterment not only of Ukraine, but for our world. So let's get right here. Trump does respond just a little while ago. It was at 2:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He shared this New York Post article, Impotent Europeans Can Only Fume, as Trump rightly sidelines them from the Ukraine deal. So what we have is a statement by sharing this article. We will get more later, I am sure, but this is what we have right now. Now, Zelensky has left London and he is en route to Brussels, or he may have already arrived in Brussels, but he has been communicating and talking and delivering different statements to Ukraine during that travel time. He says, listen, Ukraine has no right, according to the Constitution, international law, and moral law, to give away its territories. It's off the table. He did say that Kushner and Witkoff are indeed working to end the war, but for Ukraine, it is important on what basis it will end and not just end, to make sure there is not a renewed invasion. Thirdly, it said President Trump genuinely wants to end the war, but he has his own vision that differs from Ukraine's vision and differs from my vision. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once these words get to Donald Trump, we're going to hear the next level of rhetoric that will come back. I mean, that's easy to predict. You can put that in the bank. He says Americans are seeking a compromise and negotiation, but that does not mean that Ukraine should give up territories. Ukrainians, together with Europeans, will finalize their own plan, and it will probably be ready tomorrow. And once we have that, we will send it to the Americans. Zelensky will be meeting with Ursula von der Leyen and Rutte and others in Brussels tomorrow. The strongest security of guarantees we can get from the U.S. is what we want, certainly, if they are not once again the Budapest Memorandum and empty promises. We will be looking for security guarantees that are approved by the United States Congress. Guys, you wait, just wait until Donald Trump and his administration starts to digest these comments coming from Zelensky. These comments are spot on, accurate, good. They're not bad. But it will be interesting to see how this is digested from DC. So we shall see. Now, during this afternoon, Zakharova and Peskov have both given public statements. Putin also did something that's extremely interesting, and I'm going to show that to you in a moment. But Zakharova, she was talking about Ukraine and then also about the U.S. new national security strategy. Here's what she said. Certain provisions we are hearing on Ukraine provide a basis for further joint efforts by Russia and the United States to resolve the situation, allowing the search for common points of contact with Russia. But the likelihood of a change in the course we are on in the future remains unlikely. It's not going to change. But you see, I mean, that is a direct quote. Well, because of what we're hearing, we can continue to talk with the US about agreeing with points to settle Ukraine, but it's really not going to change what we're doing. She then goes on to say the new US national security strategy, Russia is very concerned by the presence of conflictual language towards China. We see those in some passages of the strategy. Thirdly, she said, for the first time in the new national security strategy, the United States officially questions the expansionist dynamics of NATO's growth and expansion. This is positive. The U.S. should be questioning that. Listen, if Zakharova is agreeing with you on something, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Let's just be very honest about that. And then she also stated that passages of the strategy on Latin America in particular are concerning, especially because of the tensions that are currently around Venezuela. Peskov stated, if you guys are wondering if there's going to be another Trump-Putin summit anytime soon, not before the end of the year. He stated that Russia does not yet know the results of the negotiations between the U.S. and Ukraine and Florida. We have heard nothing of these results. We don't know anything going on, is what he said. Yeah, right. They know everything that's going on. I'm sure they've been called multiple times. My opinion. By the way, is that your opinion? Just wondering. That's a good thing for the comments right there. Of course, they've already been communicated with. Additionally, there is currently no talk of a meeting between Putin and Trump before the new year. The leaders' meeting should be well prepared and productive. Now, this is where we're going to go for the last couple of minutes of this update, and this is interesting, guys. We today are witnessing an escalation in the tension not only between the United States and Ukraine. We've heard that even out of Trump's own mouth last night at the awards where he says, listen, Zelensky is not even reading our plan. Okay. We have a different view now. I'm disappointed in Zelensky. And then the sharing of the Truth Social post just a couple of hours ago, Europe is going to be sidelined. They're out of the picture here. U.S. and Ukraine, U.S. and Russia will decide on Ukraine. That's what we're looking at. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think most people understand what we are truly dealing with. I want to give you a little insight here. This is the Russian Orthodox Metro Bishop. He works with Kirill. He's at a meeting with the commander of the St. Alexander Nevsky Battalion. It's a serious battalion for Russia. His name is Alexei Olegovich Vereshchagin. That's who he's standing with, the commander. Listen to this. How can you negotiate with this? Just listen. This is not just a war with weapons, but this is an ideological war. This is not just a war with weapons, but a war against Nazism with our enemies, our eternal enemies. Not only the Nazis in Ukraine, but also the Nazis from the UK and the United States. Especially the Nazis are located in Europe, who have created this Nazi team in Ukraine against Russia. We actually are fighting a war against Satanists, against Satan himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't make this stuff up. That is not artificial intelligence. That's the viewpoint there. And he's standing with the commander of the Nevsky Battalion. It is direct language at Ukraine, Europe, even a touch of the United States, that we're fighting against Satanists. This is an ideological war. The Nazis must go. And I will tell you, I was reading a report today put out by Russian analysts that stated, we keep talking about territories, and the world is being distracted by territories because that's what the United States is talking about. And the analyst said, I remind you at the end of the day that we not only have territory in mind for our people, but there must be an ideological change because the root cause issues of the Nazi regime in Kyiv must be rooted out. Here we go. That agenda continues to be pushed every day, and it doesn't help when the United States president is tweeting or sharing, I want to be completely accurate here, sharing the New York Post that Europe's out. They're sidelined. They're impotent. They can't do anything. It's a terrible place. And we've seen that over the last couple of days. Even today, Trump was stating in a meeting there in the White House, yeah, European Union, they're on the way out. It's just it's failing. It's a disaster. Well, look, it's the same narrative. It's just has a different picture on it. You put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Now, do you believe that Vladimir Putin actually wants peace? Today, just a little while ago, actually, the late evening there in Moscow, this on the right is the new conscription law that Vladimir Putin signed today. Putin signed the decree on the conscription, mobilization of Russians who are in the reserve for military training in 2026. The question is this how they're preparing for peace? This is why Zelensky says we have to have security guarantees. The U.S. is talking about having security guarantees for Russia, or Russia wants security guarantees. No, it was about a month ago that these reservists were being called up. Do you remember this? About a month ago, being called up to be in the air defense, help defend power plants in the cities wherever they're spread out all throughout the U.S. Throughout the USSR. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say. And they were to defend it. They were just going to be reservists, never called up, just do their job and defend their hometown, do their work, and da-da-da. Well, now these are the very people, the reservists, who are now going to be mobilized, and they will end up in Ukraine fighting in 2026. This is where we're at. So today, a lot has unfolded, and I am confident, as I'm sure that you also have your opinion, that the rhetoric will continue to increase. And I personally feel, my opinion, we're going to see more division between the United States and Ukraine on the presidential level there, because there are many people already talking about, is this the U.S.'s off-ramp? Are they going to be out, just sell weapons, and that's it? It's on Europe, Russia, and Ukraine. We shall see. We shall see. But we'll take it step by step, and we'll be watching it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing. You guys be blessed. You are up to the moment with what has happened on today, December the 8th, 2025.